Hi, and welcome to the History Behind the Plague. I'm Sim, and today I'm joined by Elina and Estelle. We're going to be talking about the plague. We will be discovering the origin, causes, and potential cures. You're listening to the History Behind the Plague. To begin, I'll outline what the plague was and its origin. So, the Black Death, the plague, which occurred due to forms of the plague disease, was a pandemic in Asia, Europe, and North Africa, moving across the Silk Road from 1340s till 1352. 25 million people died due to it, and 30 to 60% of Europe's population died. The origin of the plague was from a bacterium spread through fleas and infected rodents like gerbils, confirmed by extracting DNA. Its origins trace back to China and Inner Asia, when Janibeg, a Mongol ruler, used his trebuchets to catapult plague-infested corpses into town with the intention to infect his enemies. This began the epidemic, transferring it to North Africa, Mediterranean, and 12 ships spreading it in 1347 rapidly to Europe. In 1350, it reached Scotland and Scandinavia. Some areas faced the consequences more than others, such as Florence. The Italian city lost 50,000 of its 85,000 population. Europe's population did not recover until 1550, along with the toll of the population of India and China.
That sounds horrific.
It truly was. Now that we know what the plague is, it had a big everlasting effect on the society in different ways. Elina, would you like to share the reaction and impact of the plague?
During the plague, people reacted in different ways because they were frightened and confused about what caused the disease. Many fled towns and cities to escape infection, but this just spread the plague further. People became more religious as they believed the plague was a punishment from God. Minority groups, especially Jewish communities, were falsely accused of causing the plague. The plague devastated populations in short term, but also transformed society in ways that changed Europe permanently. Millions of people died, trade declined, population decline lasted for generations in multiple regions, and medicine advanced.
Wow, the plague was truly significant and very unfortunate.
I know. Were there any types of plagues? If so, what caused them?
The Black Death was caused by a bacterial strain called Yersinia pestis. This bacterium is most commonly found in animals throughout the world that transmit to humans through fleas and commonly rats. But there were three main forms of the disease, which were bubonic, septicemic, and pneumonic. The bubonic plague was the most common form. It is contracted when an infected flea or rodent bites a person and infects their lymphatic system, which is part of the immune system. This causes inflammation in the lymph nodes, and if untreated, it can move up the bloodstream or to the lungs. Pneumonic plague develops when bacteria spreads/infects the lungs. People with pneumonic plague who cough into the air can spread that bacteria from their lungs. Plus, is highly contagious and can spread from person to person. Septicemic plague occurs when bacteria directly goes up into the bloodstream, which results from flea bites or untreated bubonic plague, which causes tissues, the fingers and toes to turn black.
I wasn't aware of the extensive different types. What exactly was the treatment for the disease?
At the time of the Black Death, the doctors weren't trained or as knowledgeable as they are now, so they relied on very observed methods of curing the diseases/infections. Unfortunately, there was no cure for the disease, as no one knew what caused it, but people tried methods and ways to cure it. The technique was animal cures, which they called the Vickery method, in which a live chicken would be strapped to the infected areas. When it showed signs of illness, it would be removed, washed, and replaced as they thought the chicken was drawing out the disease. Another technique was religious cures. The medieval churches supposed that the Black Death was a punishment for the sins, so they prayed, fasted, and attended Mass as they thought it would keep them safe from the disease. In addition, potions and paste were also used and was commonly known as the Four Thieves vinegar, which was a combination of cider, vinegar, spices, rosemary, and wormwood. This was believed to have been created by four thieves who used it as a protection to rob homes of the gravely ill.
Those are some interesting methods. The Black Death overall had such a huge impact, and it didn't help that doctors were unsure of the cure. It's always informative to learn more about history, as it shapes our present. The Black Death had endless details and facts. However, that's all we have time for today. My name is Sim, and I am with Estelle and Elina. Thanks so much for joining us here on the History Behind the Plague. This podcast was produced by Sim, Estelle, and Elina from Our Lady of the Sacred Heart College in collaboration with the School Life podcast. Thanks for listening. Make sure to tune in for the next OLSH PodSquad episode.